For decades, the world told us how to work, how to think, and how to win. We followed the playbooks of the West, the Silicon Valley, the Harvard, the McKinseys. But today, a new India is rising, confident, competent, and ready to craft its own professional dynamics. Welcome to Firebrand Narratives, where India's finest mind battle ideas, but not the egos. I'm Rahul Dev Pharasi, your curator for this thought revolution. And this is Firebrand, where we are not discussing only ideas, but we are going to duel them. Leaders don't just speak here to impress, they speak here to ignite some thought in you. And today we are going to explore two important questions that cut to the core of India's corporate soul. Should India dictate its own work culture instead of imitating the West? And second, is India too soft in global business negotiations? Joining me today are three powerhouse CEOs representing the new India.
Mr. Rahul Dev Pharasi, entrepreneur, orator, and India brand curator, MD of Laureate Global and Taxna Digital, and permanent faculty of IIM Ahmedabad. Mr. Antony Cherukara, CEO of VST Tillers Tractors Limited, steering one of India's most respected agri-tech companies with innovation and foresight. Ms. Uma Reddy, President of FKCCI and a dynamic leader championing entrepreneurship, inclusivity, and the growth of MSMEs across Karnataka. Mr. Jacob Crasta, founder and chairman of CM Environments, a pioneering entrepreneur known for his inspiring journey and unwavering commitment to sustainable industry practices.
So I'm going to have opening comments from each one of you first. One important thing which comes to my mind as we start is, for decades in our own companies, we have been following Western management models, the Western audit systems, the Western yardsticks of measurement. Where in India, a country which gave the world zero, decimal. COVID happened, India's vaccine was there across the world. ISRO, which has created a record in launching 104 satellites across the world. Now in this new India, is it still relevant that we are following the older Western management models? Should we dictate our own professional DNA, or is following the Western systems still relevant for us? Antony, what about you? What do you think about this?
Yeah, Rahul, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's a very passionate topic for me, and how India is moving forward in this modern world. I would say that India needs to do leaps and bounds of whatever it does. It's not about which practice you follow. It's not about what method you use. It's about scaling. It's about being productive. It is about being resilient. Now, what happens in this journey is you evolve your own models. Like, let us take an example. For example, the mindfulness aspect, which the Western world is adopting from India. Yoga, for instance, which the Western world is adopting. Third, the frugal innovation, which is becoming a Harvard, business study. So these things are evolving, and as the important thing is, how do we leap? How do we go to the next level?
You mentioned about yoga. I was talking to somebody about aerial yoga, right? Which actually originated from Shivaji Maharaj, right? The Malkham, which is now called aerial yoga. Great, it all came from India. Who has the patent?
Yeah.
Okay, who created it? Go on Wikipedia or the Google, you'll see some French person has invented aerial yoga. So that's a dichotomy which India is facing. Uma, your thoughts?
So that's kind of the past. Okay, and now I think we are in the age of Viksit Bharat. We are talking about the 5 trillion economy that we are going to. So the dynamics have to change, right? We had been imitating the West, no doubt about it. Okay, and we have been trying to get into the frameworks that have already been set. If you take the industry, for example, we're all been very clearly, we need to get our international standards done. ISO, be it UL approvals, be it CE markings. These are all international standards for which India had to grow to that level to be able to export, and we have reached there. I think there's come a time now where we have to get our own standards in. For example, recently, and I wear the hat of a small enterprise, and as an MSME, what I could say, Government of India came out with a new policy, the zero effect, zero defect. That was a quality policy. Now they're pushing hard for the MSMEs to ensure that they are Z qualified. Okay, so that should in future be the standard. Okay, so when India comes to the stage where we dictate our standards, and that's happening very recently again in regard to import of steel. If you don't have a BIS standard, you can't import steel. So that makes it that the international companies need to get BIS registered for them to, for us to import steel from other countries.
Sure.
So that's also been a standard that is being set up now. Yes, it has its
I understand
issues,
absolutely, and it's
but
heartening
these
to
are
know
levels.
that you are talking about the zero defect policy which government of India is in it. At least there is a movement towards that. So
Absolutely.
I am happy that your MSME is incorporating that. As you're
I
talking.
think that's what is
Possibly
needed.
that's where, yeah.
And slowly but surely a change
Yeah,
would.
Jacob, what are your thoughts about it?
If you go back to the 15th century, 12th century, 15th century, we had such kind of mindset. See the whole of our temples. Ajanta Ellora, Halebedu Belur, how they are built. What was the engineering behind it? That means we were very, very rich then.
Yeah.
Why can't we reach now? It is only the in between the Mughal Raj and the British Raj stolen away all these kind of things and
Yeah,
not allowed.
but it-
and even the government which
Yeah.
came is a license Raj. And we have taken, say, to cross $1 trillion economy for, say, 40 years. And to cross another 1 trillion to another 20 years. And 60 years after independence, we had to cross only 2 trillion. But for the last 10 years, we have crossed 4.3 now trillion. It's a double up. How? Because we opened up. So that opening up will not shy away taking culture from the Western or technology. We were not getting the culture.
And I'd like to add to that,
Yeah,
that
yes.
we did land on the dark side of the moon. And we were the first ones.
Yeah,
to
yeah, of
do it.
course.
Yeah.
See,
With
there,
a frugal economy, right?
Yeah.
And a frugal costs at it.
And I'm pleased to tell you, all the sensors of the Chandrayaan 3 were tested in the chamber which we supplied.
Wow, that really calls for applause for sure. Yes, wonderful. I agree to what you are saying, but okay, let's look at what we can do. I mean, governments of course will come and go and they will have their policies, but I'm talking here of the industry because that is what we are representing here. Okay, Bangalore is known for IT sector. TCS, Infosys, two of the foremost players in the IT sector, right? Globally admired. Okay, but how many practices have they institutionalized which are Indian in nature? Right, because if they are leading or popularizing the Indian management culture, then the world will listen. Otherwise, it becomes a fashion to only talk about, the Viksit Bharat and I'm not saying that, by the way, Viksit Bharat doesn't mean anything, but just an infrastructure which government is doing, okay, or, creating bridges or rails or whatever it may be. That is not going to take India only to the Viksit Bharat. It's the mindset also. A very simple question. Okay, do we have something like a Indian management framework, an Indian competency framework? I know most of the Indian companies would talk about Conferry or a McKinsey or a BCG, but are there no Indian companies? But we are not following those frameworks. We still take pride. Oh, you know what? I'm hiring BCG. Let me talk about Karnataka. Okay, Karnataka, sometime back, Karnataka government got BCG to evaluate the entire management model. Why not an Indian company?
Let me answer your first bit about the Infosys and they were the ones who started in the 90s, right? That was the time when Infosys and all that. So they still had that structure of a lot of dependence on the Western way of working, and they were bound on those norms. But take something like Zoho, which has just started. The norms are very different. Zoho, when it started very recently, look at the way it's grown, look at the way it's scaled up. And their parameters are far different from what, so I don't think we can then compare. It is the present situation, the companies that are starting now, their norms and their way of working is far different from the earlier days. Probably in those days, if the same Zoho had started, they would have been considered aggressive. But now they know very well that it's more assertive in the way they are working. Right. So I think that the situation now is that the government also accepts it. The norms are far different from what it was then. So they also understand that, the connect and the way the ecosystem and the support system in terms of policies for ease of doing business, you see it every day. It's awareness. There is a lot of interstate discussions and literally fights that are happening now in the recent past that we have seen. That shows that everybody needs to be competitively ahead and everybody is looking at new ways of working. The old
Sure, times are changing, everything.
Norms are not there anymore.
Something coming to my mind. There's a Japanese culture. When a worker starts at the factory in the morning, he bows to the machine, right? In reverence, right? A German worker will not leave his station unless that precision is accomplished, right? So these are the images which come across the globe of cultures, working cultures associated with nations. And how would you describe an Indian worker, the image of an Indian worker, which we can resonate
I'll
with?
give an example for that.
Yes.
We go to nursery classes, small children. Nursery classes here in India, nursery classes in China or in Japan. The toys to be played for nursery classes, single person cannot play. 4 or 5 people join together, the toy has to be played. This is the culture. That means from the childhood, it is being taught in China and Japan that 4 or 5 people have to join and play. Whereas here, any toys, if it's MLA or MP's son or a daughter, he takes all the toys and people simply quiet.
So,
Single individual, monotony type. So that has happened even in IT. Why IT prospered in Bangalore? Because single person draws the code. It is not a joint. So wherever there is a joint action,
So are you saying that is the image of an Indian worker?
Absolutely.
I don't
We're
agree to
lacking.
that. I don't agree to that.
Not now. I'm talking about say a decade ago.
Right.
So before we transform
Yeah, I got it. I mean, the example that you have given, so that is how you're describing India, right?
Correct.
You're saying, okay, somebody's son coming and grabbing everything. Yes, these are also reality, but is that the right picture for an Indian worker? Yeah.
No, so today's Indian worker or the image is when you travel in rural India, somebody
I'm
looking.
not talking today. I'm talking about say 20 years back.
No, I'm talking about today's image is when the rural youth sits in his paddy field after a day's work and playing with his phone on the internet, doing Google. That's the image of India. The image of India is UPI. The image of India is about digital payments. The image of India is about conquering COVID, which no other country could do so effectively as we did, and with about 1.4 billion population. So the India's image is something we can build. We are doing it. And as I said, it's not about what image do we have today. It's about we need to leap, we need to go to the next level, and the image will form itself. It's already forming. You can see, you go to the US, you talk to people. When you talk to people, they look at an Indian and say, hey, these guys are intelligent. These guys form the intelligentsia of the American community, the doctors, the engineers. Where are they from? They are from India, right? So it's not about the image anymore. It's about doing. It's about getting it done. It's about increasing our per capita income. It's about moving poverty, getting to a zero level of poverty. It's about doing, it's about execution. I have this good say, when I talk about it, people talk about China plus one, for India. I say it's not China plus one. We are the plus one country. You come to us, you want to be plus, you come to India. We are the plus one country. That's what India is.
Well put. I think with examples like UPI and the digital inroads which the Indian tech has gone into all the sectors or even the rural areas is a very good example. Let's come on to the brass tracks, right? We all are working. We all have companies in our own boardrooms. Okay, in our own companies. I want to ask, and any one of you, how many of your systems and processes are following Western models versus the Indian model? Do we still take pride in a fact that, I hired my HR head who has come from this multinational. Okay, my marketing head has come from this company, which is a multinational. I'm just talking about brass tacks, the reality on the ground. Is it not so?
For MSMEs, I'm saying that we always try to hire people with no background experience because it's much more easier to mold them. And I think at that time, they are ready to get molded to whatever suits your company needs. So I think those were the days when, if you remember, JDs used to have how many years of experience in which company. I can understand in a corporate at the top level. But if you're looking and if you're talking about 96% of the industries in the state are small and medium, micro and small enterprises, then you really have to look at the numbers that are being employed there. And if that number is being selected from those who are getting molded, obviously the methodology of an attitude, the interest to learn new skill sets, those are the defining parameters for anybody to get employed, not much as the experience.
What is our Indian culture? Same Gurukula system, Taksila. We were the best in the whole world, which has been vanished away by
Jacob, what I'm saying is,
but now,
all that was great,
correct.
But how is it actually impacting our boardrooms today?
Now, for example, I tell you, we use Asana, a software called Asana. All task is assigned, and every month the task, matrix comes. Whoever gets the highest matrix, he gets a bonus every month. So that is Asana from USA. So we use that. But whereas comparatively for Indian, nothing is available. No, Zoho is not Indian. Zoho is also a fantastic system. It is also originated from a foreign country. So now it is adopted. It is adopted now. It is adopted for Indian culture. So what I am trying to say, you asked an earlier question, whether we have to take anything from Western. Yes, we have to take it when it is not available here. Take it, improve and grow. It is not a copy or cut and paste type. No, it is improving your efficiency of the production, efficiency of your quality.
Yeah.
That is what we
Like
require.
how they have taken mindfulness, yoga from us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always something that you can learn from
Correct.
each other.
Give and
Yeah.
take
But there's
policy.
no defined framework.
I think it's also about while we build this country or build our brand, it's also important to realize that one shouldn't be reinventing the wheel, right? We shouldn't be wasting time to reinvent the wheel. There is nothing wrong in imitating the West or copying the best practices. But what is more important is using those best practices, are you able to create the next practice? So are you able to innovate? Are you able to move forward? I come back to, are you able to go to the next level? Are you able to move by leaps and bounds, not by, extra steps? You have to really grow rapidly, exponentially. And there is nothing wrong in copying a template, copying a framework. But what is most important, I would say again, is are you creating the next practice? Are you innovating? I think that is where India is leading, and that is where innovation is helping us. And that, we spoke about TCS, right? We spoke about the practices that there are several innovation practices that probably the Tata Group is one of the only groups which is mentioned in the innovation list, top 50 innovation list that has come out, right? So it's the beginning of India's journey, I would say, in terms of...
True, but I think there's a huge amount of journey which has to be traversed. I'll tell you about, you mentioned about innovation. Yeah. Okay, India ranks 4th in the world on a startup innovation ecosystem today. Yeah. Okay. Now, from a value perspective, India ranks, I think, somewhere around 20th or 21st. Countries like Norway, Israel, small little countries are punching much above their weight. Now, why is India ranking 4th? Not the value which we are bringing on the ecosystem or the innovation, but because we are a large country. Yeah. Automatically, we have gone to 4th. Right. So, it is creating an illusion somewhere. So, are we punching above our weight? Or are we punching under our weight? That is the question which we have to see.
2025 that you're talking about.
Yes.
A decade from now, things are going to be far different.
Absolutely.
The same startups are going to be in a position of being unicorns. The number of unicorns that are going to come out is going to be difficult for us to judge now. So I think we are on that path. And we are sooner or later going to reach.
When we are talking unicorn, earlier unicorns used to happen in the boardroom.
Yes.
Or in the room. Today, unicorns happen in the colleges.
All of you are CEOs, right? And you have experience a number of years behind you interacting with so many CEOs. Don't you think the Indian CEOs lack a sense of brand? The personal brand, showcasing themselves, because still in India, somewhere showcasing is confused with show off. And show off is a dirty word. Okay, show off is something which you are not possibly. I agree that you should not show off. Indian CEOs are representing Indian companies. And if the CEO, the top person is shy of that branding, why will that person then take the company out for the global?
Yeah, Rahul, the key here is it's not about the individual, it's about the company, right? One is, while you look at the West, you will see the individual is the company. If you take Virgin, for example, individual is the company, or you take Tesla, individual is the company. So that kind of branding is not probably happening in India, but it's evolving again. You can see founder promoters being the face of the company but I think what we really lack in India is the narrative, right? How are we pitching the narrative? How are we evolving on the narrative? And that is where the issue is. And there is a fine balance. Given our ecosystem, there is a need for balancing between the human face of the company and the organization itself. And that is important, and that is where I think the organizations are working towards finding balance, but I think it's evolving.
Do you think, our cultural, the socio-cultural fabric where we value hierarchy, the person is elder, should be respected, somewhere those are good values, but are they also going against our pushing for that individual brand? Because let's face it, I mean, the world across.
Rahul, I would like to add there.
Can I just complete? You all are wearing watches, right? I want to know, which company watches are you wearing? It's an Indian brand or a foreign brand, right? Because then where is India's Samsung? Where is India's Nokia? Where is India's Ericsson? A huge country like India, I am not able to relate one consumer brand which is admired and loved across the world. And why should it not be? Why? Because not that we do not have capability. Please go ahead.
Take for example, so-called international brand generated by USA, Japan, Netherlands, Sweden, Germany. What is their population? Today USA is 34 crores. They're doing 34 crores, a $1 trillion economy. 34 crores now. What is our population? 143 crores. So we have a huge market within our country.
Yeah.
Probably that is the reason why we have not gone and created that kind of brand.
So we are very comfortable with the market.
Globally
आप
acceptable.
कुछ भी बनाओ बिक जाएगा ना.
बिक जाएगा.
It's as simple as that.
As
So
simple
then,
as
so the huge space that we have in India should have been a platform to catapult us to the world stage. But we have
Take
become
for
very
example,
complacent with that
take-
stage.
it
Yeah.
is like
But
a-
can we take,
it is
Jacob,
like
can
a
we take
necessity.
comfort in that
No,
it is not
necessity.
required?
No, I agree with you, but it is now changing.
Yeah.
Now it is changing.
yeah.
The next era,
Because somewhere we are losing out in the world market.
Absolutely. Next decade
Okay.
is going to be huge.
I will
All these brand will die down.
I will add to what Jacob is saying is, in terms of brands, India is evolving, and I'll give you an example of that. If you go to certain markets in Europe, take my own industry, India is one of the largest exporters of tractors in the world, right? We do almost a very, very large number of tractors to Europe. In most countries, an Indian company is either number 1, number 2, or number 3 in terms of numbers in Europe. Now, how has it evolved over a period of time? You had the European American brands at number 1 at a very high level of price positioning. Then you had the Korean brands or the Japanese brands at the second level of positioning. And the Indian brands came at the third level in terms of the price positioning. But that was about a decade back, right? Today, I can very proudly say that most of the Indian companies' positioning is equivalent to the Japanese brands in the European market. We are able to claim that price in the European market. And I would say in another decade, you will find probably we'll be leading that positioning. Not only in terms of the value proposition we are offering, also in terms of, the technology offering that we are giving to the European farmers. And that is happening slowly into the other developed, even in the US market. We have the number 3 or number 4 player, which is an Indian brand in the US market.
And that's even on the pricing it is showing up. That's what you were saying, right?
Absolutely.
I would like to add here that
Yes.
I think things are changing. If you
Yeah.
really look at it, the Adani, Gautam Adani is the face of the Adani group, or Mukesh Ambani is the face of the Ambani group. It's happening there. But on the other part of it, it has been an advantage for us that we do have this domestic market, and thanks to that, we've been shielded with this new US tariffs that came about. I, as sitting as the president of FKCCI, hardly received any mails from any of our 4,000 odd members saying that my business, especially the garment industry, which had a huge tariff problem, we were shielded from it. And suddenly the GST reduction in garments at the same time helped them to, look at the domestic market. So you really did not see anything. I mean, how we managed COVID, we seem to have been managing tariffs well. Yes, it's affected, definitely. I mean, you can't say, but still, on the whole, you don't see headlines in the newspapers. This industry closed up or this happened.
Yeah, Oma, I agree with you. What you're saying, that we managed it well. Okay, it has been minimal impact.
We still have a long way to go.
Yeah, of course. But correlating with the brand part, right? Government of India has to still protect us. After 75 years, why should Government of India protect us? Why are we not standing and letting Donald Trump know, let the tariffs come in? Okay, come, let's face it. Okay, we have TVS. You want to bring Harley Davidson? Come on, bring it on. We will take it. Why are we still, you said shielding. Why do we require a shield? I mean, we need to be out there in the open in the world market, because if you have to go across to the Europe or you have to capture the market, remember we spoke about capturing the market. Are Indian companies entering the global markets or are they capturing the global markets?
That's true, Rahul.
Hyundai, has it captured the Indian market? Samsung, captured the Indian market? Answer is yes. But first is the mindset. I will go and capture the market. That is where we do not have a mindset that we'll capture. We'll enter. We'll be a good player, right?
So I would say this, Rahul, in Indian companies used to talk about presence in so many countries, right? We are present in 20 countries, present in 40 countries. And now the narrative is changing. You're talking about leading in so many countries or capturing so many countries. So, and eventually, I think it is happening. Like I gave you the example of tractor industry. There is an example of the two-wheeler industry where some of the Indian two-wheeler manufacturers are doing well in the South American market, the African market, and even through acquisitions, even in the European market. So, this is happening. Definitely, the Indian brand is moving up places. Coming to the shielding by the government, I would say yes and no to that. There are areas where protection is required. For example, agriculture. We have small and marginal.
That is not a debate, Anthony. That's not a debate. The debate is on where we don't require. I mean, let's not talk of agriculture.
US can't dump their.
Agreed.
But believe me that the US farmer is also subsidized.
No, fair. So I don't want to talk about that area. I want to talk about where there is a parity. I mean, you spoke of two-wheelers or other areas. We are global players. I mean, which is the biggest dairy in the world. I mean, the dairy product, Amul. I mean, we are number one. Which is the number one country in the world making jeans? It's Arvind Mills. I mean, we are number one across in the world in many such sectors. ISRO, I told you about 104 satellites. My point is, with all this, we don't need any protection. We are out there. We'll compete with people.
Give an example as far as what you asked me.
Yeah.
Take for example our own product. We are exporting more than 30 to 40 countries. And our export to USA is 40% of our turnover. So now we have, total thinking is changed. Now we have opened up in Russia, opened up in European, we have opened up in Germany, opened up in Indonesia. So that means our old contacts have been revived. Because 40% export only. So Trump, leave Trump. We don't want. Right. So let's wait whether it will change or not. Otherwise, or we have some dealer in Malaysia or we dealer in Vietnam. So from Vietnam, let it go to USA.
Yeah.
This is the alternative.
Leave Trump is, I mean, see, it's a good narrative to take comfort. But, a couple of days back, you would have heard Minister for Commerce, Piyush Goyal, he's speaking about that I'm disappointed with Indian industry. I mean, with a lot of Indian entrepreneurs who are seeking protection. And why are we not going across and, why do we need protection after 75 years? These are his words. Right. So the point is that, yes, the thinking, I agree, and I agree with you, the narrative is changing, but somewhere I feel it is lot related to the person on the top. the mindset has to also change there. Rather than looking at a big market, as I said, kuch to biki jayega. That's not a mindset that we can grow.
Having said that, Rahul, but let me also remind you that the US economy is also protected, right? It's not as if the
specific areas,
Chinese economy is heavily protected, Highly protected.
Yeah.
So if you want to compete, it's not about Indian industry can't face them. It is like, competing in the same street and somebody lowering the price.
You're right.
Why would you want to face that situation, right? Because I am competing against a Chinese and I don't have protection, but he has all the protection. How do I compete? It's not about surviving. It's about competing. And if somebody has competitive advantages, protection from the government, as the Chinese does, why wouldn't the Indian industry don't want that? And what form of protection, that's up for debate. But then, is it a competitive advantage for a certain country? Yes, it is. Then should the Indian industry be given or not given? I think it has to be studied, it has to be understood before we conclude.
Antony, listen.
Largely has to be discussed on a level playing field.
Absolutely.
No, I agree with you. But there's no debate on it. And I think Government of India is doing its job when it is holding on to the agriculture dumping over here in India.
Let's talk about my industry. For example, I'll give you an example. Okay, Bangladesh is one of the largest power tiller industry in near India, right? I manufacture tillers at a certain cost. 50% of that cost is what the Chinese is dumping into Bangladesh. There is no way you can make it, right? And how does it happen? Because it's subsidized.
Okay, so
how do you compete?
Okay, so incidentally, for our last couple of minutes, we have been actually talking on the second topic, which is India too soft on global business negotiations? So you are talking about dynamics. Well, they are dynamics because of the production. So which means it becomes sometimes tough on the negotiations.
Take the African market. The Chinese go and give a large amount of credit to that country.
I hear, Antony, what you're saying is that, we should play a hardball, but do we have the global leverage to dictate terms? Because playing field may not be same. Dynamics may be different, like with China.
Also the additional infrastructure cost.
Correct.
Take a park, an industrial park in China. They have state-of-the-art facilities and
Everything
for
available.
all the small enterprises to work on.
Plug and play.
They have a plug-and-play operation. They have a testing lab. They have a prototyping lab. Come on, we don't have proper roads right now. Where are we talking about? The infrastructure woes. The freight costs are much higher thanks to traffic not being able to reach in a certain space. Our industrial parks in Bengaluru and in and around Bangalore are so bad. Where are we? So these are all additional costs. Our cost of power is high. Our cost of finance is still higher than China. So all
After
these
the
are
land,
costs
there
that
is
are
no
going to get onto the
sanitation,
product. So we
no
don't-
water supply,
So the
no power
point,
supply.
So
The
what
point-
I'm trying to say is that yes, you can't say we don't need shielding at all. We are not asking you, asking for something where there's an equal opportunity where all these are compared at the
Level
same
playing
level.
field.
Given
Jacob, the world is not same, right? All fingers are not same. So let's face it. We still have to compete with the world,
Absolutely.
right? See,
And we
the
are.
point which
We are.
So
Despite of all the problems.
how many times have you said no to a foreign client? Okay, we have been very accommodative that on the pricing or whatever, so which means we are not a hardball negotiators. So all those factors which you are saying, they will remain, and sometimes they will be pluses and minuses which are there. But
my view, Rahul, on this is if the world views us as we are not great negotiators, I think we are the best negotiators. What I am trying to say is, if somebody makes it obvious that I am a great negotiator, believe me, he is not a good negotiator.
okay,
So what I would say is, let the world think what they think. What is important is, are we growing our business across the globe? I think the answer is yes. Are we saying no to deals which are unfavorable? The answer is yes. Are we
do you do that in your company? Have you refused?
Absolutely, several of them. We have refused deals.
What about you?
I'll give one
Yes.
example and I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When TVS Suzuki joint venture was to be done, Mr. Srinivasan went to Japan for negotiation. 1 week they discussed about the agreement. But on the day of Saturday, so the Suzuki chairman said, yes, tomorrow I am not able to meet you because I have to go to the church, because after the church I'll meet. Srinivas took it from there. oh, he is a religious person. Then let me make some point. On Monday in my third morning, sir, I have been married to my wife for the last 45 years. I have never had an agreement. So why is agreement troubling you? Agreement is signed separate. That means we are strong negotiators.
Okay. Are
that is
these,
there, 45
are these
years back.
exceptions to the rule, or is that the rule generally?
Now
Because
we negotiate in such a way that what is good for me.
you giving
It's not
an
a soft-
example, I agree with you. But is that
Let
the
us-
general
let
thing?
us
What
go-
you find? Are we strong negotiators in the global stage?
Now, one more thing is let us.
We don't say it so, we don't proclaim
Yeah,
it to be
yeah.
so. If you look at an SME, we have so many of them. If they were not good negotiators, would they be around at all? They are in whatever
Uma,
way
I'm talking
they
about
are.
a global stage.
Yeah.
I'm not talking within the country. Maybe you can still say no here.
No, but
I'm
they're all
talking-
global companies that they are supplying to.
Okay.
A multinational which is
Well,
a local
that's
company.
good to know. I mean, because you are industry experts, of course. I mean, if you feel that we are
We
hardball
still-
negotiators,
Still have
possibly.
a long way to go, and I think it was in the recent past that we have seen our external affairs minister or a commerce minister actually showing their assertiveness, which I don't think we saw much.
Yeah.
Possibly that is my belief is when the head of the family has a particular thought process and narrative, the rest of the family starts mirroring that. So when the head of the country is having a thought, the
Absolutely.
entire
I
country
agree
starts
with
mirroring.
you, and
So I
the
think
industry also
to
is
that
right.
part, possibly, yeah, I agree that there are dynamics which are gradually changing, and I hope they continue to change. And India is looked at, not just a service provider but a value creator also in the world market. An important area, I've been talking to some of my IT friends that in IT, most of the companies were earlier coming more for cost arbitrage factor, but gradually now it is changing to value creation as well, and not just the cost arbitrage.
I think
But yes.
we are calm and patient negotiators. We are not brash. We are not the Trumps.
Yeah.
So look at how India is handling tariff. I think it's a splendid example how we are handling it. I mean, we are taking
It's-
it calm. We are taking it patient.
Correct.
Are we doing steps to negate it? We are.
Yes.
Right, the GST reduction,
Yeah.
the tax rules, all of that is to negate that
Yeah.
effect, right? Are we still on the table
It's-
negotiating? Yes, we are.
It's,
Are we calm about it? Yes, we are.
It's reminding me of how India was calmly buying the Russian crude.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Without thought and show. I mean,
Yeah,
and
and,
absolutely. I mean, you don't have to be brash about it. I
how-
will keep buying my oil.
how the Land Rover was acquired by Tata.
Exactly, exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely. Great. I think.
So we are quiet people,
our-
smart people, and cool people.
Well, I think he has done the closing remarks. Okay, as we wind up, I think we are now almost out of time. I'm going to, of course, have one last point from all of you. But before that, here's a very quick rapid fire for all of you. Okay, please choose instinctively. Okay, not who you admire, but who you associate with New India. Are you all game for this? Okay,
Yes.
let's get on. Okay, jugaad or discipline?
Jugaad.
Jugaad.
Discipline.
Humble or hungry?
Hungry.
Hungry.
Hungry. Okay. Namaste or negotiation?
Namaste.
Namaste.
100% namaste.
You just spoke about negotiation and hardball negotiation. Now you're talking about namaste. Okay, great.
Culture.
Namaste is culture.
Culture comes in.
Okay, from you. Tradition or transformation?
Tradition.
Transformation.
Transformation.
Okay. Adjust or assert?
Assert.
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 Wow, great. Sounds good. Start with you. Harmony or hardline?
How?
Harmony.
No.
Harmony.
Harmony or hardline?
Common.
Hard line.
Okay. Guru or gladiator?
Guru.
Guru.
Gladiator.
Okay. Courtesy or competitiveness?
Competitiveness.
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 Wow, I think we should do a collation of all this and come out with some sort of a survey findings,
Survey.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Azim Premji or Richard Branson?
Asim Premji, of course.
Azim Premji.
Ajit Prem.
Okay, Jai, because Indian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Homegrown.
Bangalore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Satya Nadella or Elon Musk?
Nadella again.
Nadella.
Adela.
Okay, now this one from you. Gandhi or Chanakya?
Chanakya.
Chanakya.
Tough one. Chanakya.
Uma, for you, from you, should Indian competence be respected or feared?
Respected.
Respected.
Feared.
Consensus or conviction?
Conviction.
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 Okay, I think you all can answer this together. Good brand or Firebrand?
Do we have a choice?
Okay, as it comes to an end, what does globally assertive India mean to you? I want all of you to answer this. What does globally assertive India mean to you?
To me, it means India is plus one. It also means how many countries we are capturing, how many countries we are not only capturing in terms of the market, in terms of the minds. What a Hyundai has done in India, or what an LG has done in India. How many of those things that we can do in other countries around the world. So India is a plus one, is what I am talking about. Getting Indian products, getting Indian ways of thinking, and not only developing India, but being a kind of example to the world, how to make this world a better and calm and peaceful place, which India has always stood for.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, what about you?
Put it short, exponential growth. And I believe holistic growth, exponential and holistic growth as a country. That's what I look at.
Since we are heading towards the Viksit Bharat 2047, our children or even grandchildren, when they get it to 2025, they should get their 45,000 per capita income and happy to live in India.
Dollars, right?
Dollars, sorry. Dollars.
Yeah, if dollar remains by that time the world currency. Okay, thank you for your thoughts. My thought is very simple. We have been an emerging market for too long. I think India is no longer an emerging market. We are the market.
Correct.
Yeah.
Simple. And the world needs to see us from that perspective.
That is what Viksit Bharat we are talking about.
Yes.
I think I started off as a developing economy. We used to keep talking about developing economies when I started my business, moved on to emerging markets, and now we are the market.
Absolutely. But thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
It was pleasure
Thank you.
having you. Jacob, thank you. Uma, thank you very much. Not just for this the podcast, but also helping us, with the entire setup and infrastructure. It was really great. And as I end, every leader must ask that: are you a firebrand shaping India's voice on the global table, or are you a follower brand? Politely waiting for your turn to speak, because power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it speaks softly, but never apologetically, and that is something which we should keep in mind. The new India will not choose about the grace or the grit, but it is going to lead with both the grace and the grit. With that, I wind up this session of podcast. It's called, interestingly, it's called Firebrand Narratives, as you were talking, because we are trying to set up the narrative for the Firebrand India. So thank you all for your time. It was a pleasure connecting with all of you.
Thank you, Rahul, and all the best, Firebrand.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very much.
Rahul.
Thank you.
And all the best for you.
Thank you. Thank you.